With the passing away of Ben Patton, YouTube legend, I decided to dedicate this video to him by showing off the ports of one of Nintendo's greatest superstars. I am the Game Collector and this is Second Opinion Games, and today we solemnly look at the ports of Mario Brothers.
Second Opinion Games.
Mario got his start in Donkey Kong, where he's a construction worker. He was called Jumpman, and this game was very difficult for a lot of people in the early 80s because they didn't realize video game characters could jump. That's right, this was an action platformer, the very first of its kind. You, of course, had to save a beautiful redheaded girl from an evil giant monkey. The game ended when a giant monkey finally cracked his cranium open, and you found your true love. Moving on to the game we're actually going to talk about, and that is the arcade version of Mario Brothers. It shows you exactly what to do. No, you're not jumping on top of any enemies here. Instead, you have to hit them from below and then knock them off, and then collect those golden coins that are standard to this day. Also, it's apparent that Mario is now a plumber instead of a construction worker. This is very cool and a good career choice change because construction working is very dangerous business. Unlike plumbing, where the best you have to worry about is fighting against those evil turtles that gets flushed down the sewers, and a whole lot of crabs that come from, well, I don't know where. There's also going to be fireballs flying at you left and right. The game itself is quite colorful, and one of the coolest things about it is Mario's momentum. If he's running at full speed and you turn the opposite direction, he will slide all over the place. The other cool thing is that the turtles actually jump out of their shells and then kick their shell back over and then jump back into their shells if you wait a little bit too long, where then they become even angrier from the very beginning, because at first it's not apparent that they're actually trying to kill you, only when you try to kill them. So this was a pretty terrific game, and of course it had tons of ports. Now, most people were probably familiar with this by playing it on Mario Bros. 3. It could only be played in the 2-player option here, and it was more just a battle system. Matter of fact, the whole game seems to be completely refined here and even chopped up into little tiny chunks, so this wasn't so much a port as a total remake. If you wanted to see a port, you would move on to the NES version of the game, where noticeably the graphics have been toned down just a hair, and also the colors were muted quite a bit as well. Also, for the most part, the entire game is completely intact, even though they also stripped out all those segments telling you how to kill your opponents, because most people knew how to do it by now. Even though later Mario Brothers games will show you that you're supposed to jump on everything and crush it to death rather than hitting it from below, at this point in time the regular Mario Brothers game wasn't really out and super famous like the arcade version of Mario Brothers. So this was pretty common at the time to be able to know how to play the game.
This is an ugly candy bar, Peter Paul's almond cluster. It bulges from the way they stuff those almonds and crunchy stuff inside. It's so ugly, in fact, we're not going to show it to you. But don't go away, we're going to show you something. Isn't that something? Believe me, it's better than looking at our candy bar. Funny thing, ugly as it is, almond cluster tastes just beautiful. Why people who make such a crunchy, chocolatey candy can't fix the way it looks? I don't know, maybe we should be on the radio or something, skywriting.
The Atari 7800 got a fairly decent version of this game too, but it seems that the sound chip was ripped straight from the Atari 2600, so it's a whole lot of bleeping and blooping. The graphics aren't quite as good as the NES, but overall it's a very serviceable port, unlike the Atari 5200 port, where they chose the worst colors ever. However, the one thing that this game did do right is that the turtles actually jump out of their shells and kick them over, unlike any of the other ports in the game. But that's a really small upside to this otherwise horrible looking game. The graphics are bad, the controls seem to be even worse than any other port, and overall I think this one was sabotaged from day one. The Atari 2600 port though was done tremendously well. You don't seem to have so much momentum, and you do have quite a bit of control over Mario Jumpman Mario himself here. This is a terrific version, even if the graphics have been dumbed down to almost unrecognizable levels. Unlike that 5200 version with the stupid one-eyed crabs, that's just creepy looking. Yeah, the 2600 did a great job with the hardware it had, and it makes me wonder what Super Mario Bros. Would have looked like if it was an Atari 2600 game. Oh yeah, well, it looks and plays pretty good. It also doesn't have that momentum-based gameplay as Super Mario Bros. Had, but overall it's a good game, but that's for another video altogether. Overall here, I really like Mario Brothers as a whole. Whether I'm playing in the arcade or on my Nintendo or even the 2600, I believe it is a terrific game. But of course, that's just my opinion, and thanks for watching. And one last thing in honor of Ben. If you know someone who struggles with autoerotic asphyxiation, please urge them to get help while they have a chance. I hope now that everyone will go over to his channel and offer your best wishes and condolences. So, until later, I will see you again, guys.